I'm here today with Toni Shiloh. Toni's a wife, mom, and Christian fiction writer. Once she understood the powerful saving grace of the love of Christ, she was moved to honor her Savior. She writes soulfully romantic novels to bring him glory and to learn more about his goodness. Before pursuing her dream as a writer, Toni served in the United States Air Force, and that was where she met her husband. After countless moves, they ended up in Virginia, where they're raising their two boys. When she's not typing in imagination land, Toni enjoys reading, playing video games, making jewelry, and spending time with her family. So Toni is a member of the American Christian Fiction Writers Association. And this spring, she is going to be one of our speakers at the upcoming Publishing in Color Conference, which is going to take place online April 19th through 23rd. So Toni, it's wonderful to hear you, be here with you today, and wonderful to be able to work with you on the conference.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So I just gave a really brief introduction, so maybe it'd be helpful for people to learn more about you, kind of how you ended up getting to this point.
Sure, of course. Well, like you said, I was in the Air Force. I did 6 years, and afterward, I kind of did like most people, like what I want to be when I grow up. So I went back to college, ended up getting an English degree, and it was during my creative writing classes that I was like I've always had a love for writing and reading, but my teacher encouraged me so much. I thought maybe I could actually make a career, like maybe I had talent and skill. So I entered some contests, and then I went ahead and made a resolution to finish a book from start to finish instead of starting them all and not doing anything with them. And then once I did that, I had to decide if I wanted to be indie published or if I wanted to go traditional route. And I actually kind of waffled back and forth for a couple of years between the two, and now I'm strictly hybrid. I love indie publishing and the freedom it offers me, but I also like the support you get when you traditional publish. And yeah, that's like the short and sweet of how I got to be here today.
Cool. I mean, everyone's journey, is just so fascinating to hear because it's so different. Everyone's so unique.
Right.
So I'm curious, in your case, did you ever do NaNoWriMo?
Yes, I did. I did NaNoWriMo in 2015. It was the first time I even heard of it that year. And I wrote the book from start to finish. And I ended up that was my second published book, Buying Love, was my NaNoWriMo win.
So let's talk about, you mentioned, it sounds like you've done both, independent publishing and traditional publishing. So maybe we can dive into that a little bit. Maybe to start with, on the traditional published side, one other fascinating thing I love to hear is how people got their first book deal. How did that happen?
So for that, it was interesting. I didn't have an agent. I did try and get agents, but I had a lot of doors closed. So then I started looking at small press publishers because a lot of them will go ahead and accept a manuscript without you having an agent. And I got a book deal and I was excited. And then that company closed before it could ever leave the gate. So I was heartbroken, and I felt like I was back from, right from the beginning. And then one of a lady I had met through blogging contacted me to let me know she was opening a publishing company called Celebrate Lit Publishing, and that she was interested in my book. And so I sent her Buying Love manuscript and signed with her, and it became, a whole series, the Maple Run series. So that was my first step, was by small press.
Okay. And it sounds like you've also done independent publishing, your own?
I have. So like I said, I like the freedom of that. I'm a little recovering perfectionist. So with, indie publishing, you're responsible for anything. If you fell in any area, I look at it as a learning opportunity, and only myself that I can be upset with versus feeling like I'm upset with a publishing company and something's out of my control. But no, I do the covers myself for my indie books. I hire an editor because I'm not that good in that area. And I have my own street team that helps me, launch it. And usually I'll do publicity tours as well. but yeah, everything falls on me.
It's good news and bad news, right? I mean,
Yeah.
everything falls on you, but at the same time, you get to drive the truck, right? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you get to.
If you crash, it's your fault, but if you make it to your destination and you can also feel pride in that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, control the quality and control the priorities. And, I think if a person knows what they're doing, that's of a lot of value.
Agreed.
Now, at the Publishing and Color Conference, you're going to be doing a joint presentation with Rayella from
Yes.
the Baker Publishing Group. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you got connected with her.
I would love to. So, the whole pandemic kind of had me sit down and, think about my priorities a little bit more. Last year, I went ahead and I indie published a rapid release series. I published 3 books every 6 weeks apart. Um, and I enjoyed the process, but I still wanted more, basically. And so I went ahead and I was like, you know what? My dream has always been to be traditionally published with one of the big publishing companies. And I went to a conference because it was online and easy, and I could afford it. And they were doing agent appointments, and Rayla was one of them. They did agent and editors. And I saw her name and I saw Bethany House and I was like, should I go for it? And I was like, yes, I'm totally going to go for it. So we talked, I think it was like 10 minutes. But no, she said she loved my idea and she wanted more. And at the time it was just an idea. Like I didn't have anything written. So I went ahead and I devoted time that summer and I wrote up a proposal. It's funny because in the background, I was talking to another author who actually also happens to be an agent. I was telling her about my whole process, and she was like, you know what? Go ahead and send me that proposal as well. Send it to my agent email. And I was like, what? And it was crazy. Like everything lined up so quickly. She wanted to become an agent and we signed a contract. And then she went ahead and sent everything out to various publishers, and Rayla's the one we went with. I got a contract for a 2-book deal with Bethany House, and I was like over the moon. Like it seemed really surreal. It still seems surreal. So those books will release in 2022. So I'm really excited about that.
Okay. I was wondering what the timing was of that. That's wonderful. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit before we get into the new book that is just going to be released. Tell us about the books that you've written previously.
So I've done a little bit of everything. I do love series. So I have one series called the Maple Run series. It's set in a fictional town in Maple Run, Virginia. And the first one, Buy and Love. So I did a play on marriage of convenience. And my heroine puts an ad in the newspaper for a husband, basically. And the guy answers because he owns a restaurant that needs some help and he doesn't want to lose it. So that was fun. And I continued the theme in that one. The second book, Finding Love, is his twin sister story. And with her, she lost her husband in the military. And what happens is an old army buddy of his comes up. He feels guilty for the death of her husband, and so he wants to help her out at the restaurant. And then they end up falling in love. And then Enduring Love is the third book, which is a army buddy of the hero in book 2. And then in the fourth one is one of the waitresses from the restaurant, and she falls in love with the best friend of book 1's hero. So they're all connected, but they all have their own story. And it's just one of the things I like about writing a series is just having that family connection, the community. I did the same thing with my Freedom Lake series, which is one I independently published. I set that in Indiana based off a small town that used to be an all-Black resort. But, now it's modern day. They've integrated. So that was the history I chose just because I found it fascinating. And then the latest series I published last year, I went ahead and did a little bit different. I wrote just from the heroine's point of view. and they are all rich and famous women. And they're I also wrote them in first person. So they have a little bit more humor, a little bit more on the chick lit side, but still has the romance I put in all of my books.
Very cool. What an imagination and creativity that you had to come up with all of those themes and, much different themes.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like sometimes my mind is always going, and usually I have more ideas than the time to write them. But like I'll storm a little file in case I, ever do have the empty time to write and just dream. I'll pick one of them.
So personally, I work much more with nonfiction writers than I do fiction writers. And I kind of have, more of a feel for how to market books, in a nonfiction sense.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find marketing fiction? What's the most effective method for doing that?
So I feel it's all about connection. The readers want to know you. They just want that little personal connection that they can identify something in your life with theirs,
Hmm.
and it makes you seem personable and like you could be their friend. I've found a lot of people have bought my books because they follow me on my social media and they like the voice in my presentation on social media, and so they're curious enough to go buy a book.
So on social media, then do you post excerpts from your books or something else?
No, so usually the only time I'm talking about my books is near a launch. So like
Okay.
this week, I'm doing countdown memes and talking about it. Other than that, I really talk about random things.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes, but they're all about me. So like they get a little bit about me. So Sunday, I asked people if they made the breads every day and if they put pillows and stuffed animals and everything like that. And it's just fun interacting with them and seeing like, who has to make their bed every day and who doesn't. So it's just stuff like that. Asking about, favorite, this, favorite that.
So that is much different than nonfiction.
It
But,
is.
I mean, not that it's bad or wrong or anything like that. It's just, interesting to hear that that's, the formula that you've found to be, I mean, engagement, obviously, that's across the board is always valuable. But the methods that you're talking about, for achieving that are much different than what, a typical nonfiction author would use. So anyway, so tell us about the new book that's about to hit the streets.
Yes, it's called An Unlikely Proposal. It's a love-inspired book, which is Harlequin's Christian line. So it's a sweet contemporary romance set in a fictional town called Bluebonnet, Texas. And since I'm from Texas, like it was fun to go ahead and put characters back in the state. I don't think I've done that before. But anyways, it's a marriage of convenience because it's one of my favorite tropes. But it's also a friends to more story. Trinity just got laid off. She has no job, but she's a type 1 diabetic, so she needs, job and all the insurance that comes with that. And then her best friend, Omar, he has 2 little girls that he needs to be watched. He's a firefighter, so with his shift, he needs to have childcare in place. So he comes up with the idea of getting married for convenience because he's a widower and he knows he's not going to be ever fall in love again. And she was jilted at the altar, so she knows she's never going to fall in love again, or so they think. So I kind of put them in that situation, throw in some antics from a 2-year-old and 3-year-old little girls, and that's the book basically.
Oh, very cool. That sounds very neat. So I know you said you signed a book deal for, the 2 future books. Can you talk at all about them or is it too early?
I feel like it's too early. I will give like a couple of hints. The first book is basically a girl finds out she's a princess and she goes to an African island. So that's basically what I'll say about that. And then the book 2 is about her best friend.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, we'll look forward to hearing more about those when we get closer.
Yes, definitely.
So how about the presentation coming up for the Publishing in Color Conference? Can you preview that at all? You want to say anything about that?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. It's the first time I'll co-teach with anyone, and that the fact that it's Rayla makes it even more exciting for me. And we're basically going to go through the ins and out of, from her standpoint, what do editors look for when you want to when you want to approach a publishing company? And then I will talk about it from the writer's perspective, like the things to do, things not to do, how to make yourself more appealing. And we'll just kind of go back and forth that way.
Okay, cool. So again, the title of the book coming out again tomorrow is it, say that again,
It's
please.
an unlikely proposal.
An Unlikely Proposal, January 26th. And you can find out about it on tonishiloh.com.
You can.
So Toni, thanks so much for joining us. And, thanks again for being part of the upcoming conference. I'm looking forward to working with you on that.
I am. Thank you so much for having me.